Hey everybody, I'm Brandy Kelly and I'm a superintendent on a mission to lead with hope and to help my fellow educators do the same. The Lead with Hope podcast is a bi-weekly podcast that will inspire and empower you to lead with hope. Check out my website at leadwithhope.net. Now today my guest is Dan Wolfe. Dan has served in a variety of educational roles in Florida for more than 25 years. He's currently an assistant principal at Sunray Elementary and was selected as Pasco County's District Teacher of the Year in 2011-2012 school year. For the past 3 years, Dan has written a blog called Becoming the Change, and his first book recently came out in June of 2022 called Becoming the Change. Welcome to the podcast, Dan.
Thank you so much for having me on the show, Brandy. I appreciate it.
Dan, I want to start off by you just telling the listeners about your story. Who are you and why did you become an educator?
Sure. Again, my name is Dan Wolfe, and I grew up in Germantown, Maryland, and actually I'm currently in Florida, just north of Tampa. This is my 27th year in education. I've held various roles. I've been an elementary teacher, kindergarten through fifth grade. Actually interned in kindergarten, so if you can survive that, you can survive anything in my book. I've been a math coach, a math district curriculum specialist, K-12, where I serviced 18 Title I schools within one of our regions. And I'm currently an assistant principal and who's also in the principal's pool. So I hope to be a principal at a school in the future for sure. So
Awesome. And we need strong principals. We need strong leaders in education today. And you're not kidding about if you can survive kindergarten. I was a preschool through first grade principal for 4 years. And I don't think I ever worked harder in my life. It is all hands on deck. And those little ones have so much energy. It is amazing. So that is
yes.
a true statement.
Absolutely. And of course, when I went to kindergarten, just to date myself, it was only half day kindergarten. So to survive a full day it was like a double dose of reality for that for sure.
Yeah. So, Lead with Hope is a system of self advocacy. And my acronym for HOPE, H stands for habits, O for optimistic outlook, P for passion and purpose, and then E for excellence. So, based on that acronym, which of those areas most resonate with you and why?
I would say, I mean, and again, I know they're all interconnected, but the one that stood out for me was the P for sure, because for me, this is my why. I believe that my passion is people and establishing those positive relationships. I believe that goes a long way. That consists of students, families, and the staff that I serve. And then within that is that purpose to serve, lead, and inspire. And actually, that's my daily mantra. Every day, that's what my goal is. It's actually on my alarm when I wake up to serve, lead, and inspire. And if I can do that every day, then I consider it a successful day. I believe that in serving others first, it's in the hopes will help that person, whoever you're serving, will pay it forward to others, because that's what I think just makes the world a better place. And then this flows into leading others towards becoming their best self by inspiring them to reach new heights, both professionally and personally. And then the last part of that was the perseverance. And that comes from overcoming both personal and professional challenges in my life that I faced. From personally, I lost my dad at 17 during my senior year in high school due to a heart attack. And then in 2009, I made the difficult decision to step down as an assistant principal. Because I wanted to spend more time with my family. I felt like I was missing out on watching my daughter grow up and things like that, memories that I'd never get back. But everything happens for a reason, because then in 2016, I was blessed to become an assistant principal again. And ironically enough, at the school that I had left in 2009. So, things just happen for a reason. You don't always know why, but it's that perseverance of never giving up. So.
Absolutely. And I agree with that statement. Everything happens for a reason. Um, we don't all have tragedies in our life, but I know we all have adversity. And grief is something that as hard as it is to overcome, I do think it binds us together. I lost a brother when I was 15, and my mother when I was 24, and then most recently, my dad is going through Parkinson's with dementia, and
Oh,
we're
so
slowly
sorry.
losing him. Yeah, we're
Hmm.
slowly losing him. But those situations, like you said, it's the people that we come across in life that really matter, and sometimes the experiences we have bond us and help us to reach those people that need us in the time that they need us.
Absolutely, I wholeheartedly agree, and I believe it's the people that become our legacy, and the impact we
Absolutely.
have on them. That's that footprint, that imprint on them. That's what's going to last when we're no longer here. And
Hmm.
and I think that's anything that I can instill within my daughter or just anybody else that I come in contact with is, having this world be a better place for it. I think that makes all worthwhile.
Oh yeah, for sure, for sure. And thinking about that, this last week, a couple of people. We've been in education, Dan, about the same amount of time. I'm right around 23 years in education, and I started out as a school social worker in Effingham School District. And
Hmm.
this past week, one of my former students reached out to me, and she's a kiddo who she was raised by her grandmother, and her mom was an addict. Um, and she was just lost. She had so many lost years. But she reached out to me on social media, and she said, for some reason, this time of year, she just has the desire to contact me and let me know that I made a difference in her life. And for educators,
Hmm.
that is so true for each and every one of us. We all have numbers of kids that we have impacted in a number of ways, and that's our legacy.
Absolutely. Yes. And I mean, and that's why we do what we do. And that's,
Hmm.
we never went into it for the money or anything else like that. But it's, having that kind of impact, it's priceless. And to
Absolutely.
me, that's something, and the students that I serve, I mean, most of my career has been in Title I. And I mean, I know
Mhm.
there's challenges in non-Title I schools, but just seeing, just letting them know, hey, glad to have you here. Just we have like fist bump Fridays at our school and things like that, and just to see
Mhm.
them just happy to be there. And I know around the holidays, right around this time, they're gonna have 2 weeks off, and they don't know what that's gonna look like. Are they gonna be in the home that they're currently in right now? Are they gonna have to go to another hotel or whatever the circumstance may be? And that's why we don't really worry about homework and things like that. We worry about them being there and just letting them
Mhm.
know that you know, um, you know, that they're safe and that they're
Yeah.
protected and that they're loved. And I think that's all you could really give them for that. And even when they leave our school and they move on to sixth grade, I always let them know you're always our kids, no matter what. I said just and they'll come back and they'll
Mhm.
say hello and things like that. And I mean that just means the world. It really does.
Oh, it really does. It's amazing, just that contact after they've left, and then they come back, and that contact that you have with your kids. They're always your kids. That never
Mhm.
changes. And I know that you do a lot of things with social emotional learning at your school, Dan.
Mhm.
Um, on social media, I noticed that you do a video about gratitude. You talked about the Fist Bump Fridays. What is the most impactful thing that you do around SEL at your school that you can share with our listeners?
I think and it's twofold because it's not just for the students but and also the staff that I serve and everything, because it's really SEL as adults as well, because
Mhm.
we are still evolving and becoming our own change with things. And I think it's leading with compassion and understanding. I really lean on out of because there's 5 areas within social emotional learning for your listeners. There's self awareness, self management, social awareness, relationship skills, and responsible decision making. And the one that I lead heavily on is that social awareness piece. I think often that's one that's the hardest to really to really come out into the world. I mean, even in the things we see, what's happening in the world now, it's that social awareness piece, looking at it through the lens of someone else, leading with empathy, not sympathy. And it's just letting them know, having those real conversations with parents and things like that. I mean, I I never knew how privileged a life I lived growing up. I would complain about it growing up, thinking, just like any teenager would, that, oh, my life is this or that. But being in the role I've had in the schools I've been in, seeing what it really is like on the front lines, and when people don't really have, they're coming from broken homes, they don't know who their dad is, or they're
Mhm.
being raised. There's just so many fear of unknowns that, I mean, I never really had to face yet. And just being able to see that and um, listen to their story, because that's something that I don't think often happens enough. We're so caught up in where are they proficiency wise, and where are they with this and that, where do we rank in comparison to the other schools, and everything has its place, but really that's not what their concerns are from families. It's not at the forefront of their mind. It could be just getting a good education, or they might
Mhm.
have not had a great experience when they went to school, so they're very skeptical of the educational experience for their kids. And it's my job to keep let them know, you know that they are in good hands, and we are going to have that open communication. We are on the same level. uh I tell my teachers all the time that I support. I said, yes, I have the title of assistant principal, but it's a title. I said, what's behind it and what I do, that is what's going to matter more than anything else. The title will never lead what I do, no matter what role I have, because it's the impact that really matters. And so, just to bring it back around within SEL, I mean, it really
Mhm.
again is that social emotional, I mean, that social awareness piece, excuse me, that I think
Mhm.
really is what I try to hone in on for what the needs are, because they're always changing. And I
Yeah.
feel in education we're like a chameleon. We adapt to the environment and we adapt to what our families need. And that's always
Mhm.
going to come first and foremost, no matter what legislative measures or anything else that gets thrown our way. We're going to be there as the advocates for those families and students and teachers.
Yes, we definitely have to meet our teachers and our students where they are, and then help them, to reach their fullest potential from there. That's the only
Mhm.
way we're going to help them reach their fullest potential. And I think whenever you're talking about that social awareness piece, people people reach that self actualization whenever they are able to fuel their passion. So, speaking to them about their passions is so impactful, and learning about their story and who they are and where they came from and why they have the interest that they have, and then helping them to plug into to that to fulfill their purpose and their passion in life is so very powerful. And I know you have a powerful passion, um, with becoming the change. That is your most recent project. So, can you tell us a little bit about the book that released in June of 2022?
Sure. So the name of the book is called Becoming the Change: Five Essential Elements Towards Being Your Best Self. It's currently on Amazon right now, and it's published through the Road to Awesome. So I'm very grateful to them for taking a chance on me, because we talked about perseverance and everything
Mhm.
earlier. I had probably well over 50 rejections until I finally had Darren go ahead and Darren Peppard take a chance on me and his wife Jess, and I'm forever grateful for that. But that's just to the listeners out there: never give up, on what you believe in, and you just have to see it through. In this book, what I do is I provide the reader with the tools and resources necessary to manage the one thing we can truly change, which is ourselves. Throughout the book, I discuss change much like the metamorphosis of a butterfly, whereas we experience our own type of metamorphosis as it relates to our own social and emotional well being. Within there, one of the things that I have is I believe we each have our own moral compass that guides us in life. So, just like a compass, when we get lost in the woods or something, when we have our different struggles in life and everything, we have our own moral compass to guide us. And at the epicenter is that self-awareness piece, which is knowing our inner selves and what makes us tick. I look at it much like a mechanic that knows the inner workings of a car. We know we are the
Mhm.
mechanics of our lives. That also, and then each of the four areas of the cardinal directions, if you will, you have your self-management, which we're in the driver's seat of our own minds and actions. We control our destiny. Social awareness, like we spoke about before, is really understanding our place in this world and how we can survive through acceptance and unity, looking at things through the lens of others. Relationship skills is those looking for those innate qualities we have not only in others but also within ourselves. Because if we, as we know, if you don't love yourself, how can you love anyone else within there?
Mhm.
And then what ties it all together are responsible decision making. Because as author and podcaster Seth Godin once said, decisions are choices, and we have to make sure that we're making those choices with an open heart and mind. And throughout the book, I'm a big fan of quotes, so I have quotes that relate to each of these areas. I have what are called compass checks throughout. And then I even have, if you remember those books, the Choose Your Own Adventure.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
I grew up on those, and I wanted to do something different with the book. Yeah, so it wasn't just one that you could read from beginning to end. You can definitely do that, which I hope everyone would. But what you do is you have there's a needs assessment in the beginning where you honestly evaluate yourself of where you are in the five areas. You're going to have strengths and you're going to have limitations. I don't call them weaknesses because limitations are really what we put on ourselves when you really think about it.
Mhm.
And then within there, at the end of every chapter, you get to choose whether you want to read on self awareness or responsible decision making. You can jump around within the book and read based on what your needs are, or where you want to, maybe you want to hone in on that strength of self awareness and get even better with it. And so that's the purpose of the book. And then the hope is that you give yourself that self assessment every 6 months to a year, and then you're on a new adventure, because that's what life is.
Mhm.
It's our own story, and that's what I wanted the book to be. Is it's your own story, your own journey. So you're the driver of it. So that's how that book was laid out.
I love the idea of choose your own adventure, especially whenever you consider, like you said, life is a journey. And I think oftentimes we get so busy living life that we forget to enjoy the ride. And it's so important that we find the joy in this journey.
Right. I kind of, when you had just said that within there, I kind of if you the movie Shawshank Redemption comes to mind,
Yeah.
and when Red says either or get busy living or get busy dying. And that's
Hmm.
just basically, right now it's get busy living, and that's what we all need to do, because we only go on this journey once, and we want to make the most of it for sure.
That's right. And I hope that, our listeners will pick up your book and read it. It sounds very powerful. I know I'm going to go to Amazon when we get done with this podcast and purchase it for myself. I haven't read it yet, but I plan to.
Thank you.
So yeah. So Dan, thanks for coming on today. And why don't you tell the listeners how they can connect with you?
Sure. So there's a couple of different areas. So Twitter or X, I still call it Twitter. It's
Hmm.
at Serve, Lead, Inspire. The Serve is without the E, and it's not that I can't spell. It's just that I'm limited in characters. So that's what I was allowed. Instagram is Serve, Lead, Inspire Always. It's Dan Wolfe on Facebook and LinkedIn. And then I have a website, becomingthechange.com, where my blog is, and a podcast where I just I go ahead and write about, again, as I said earlier, I'm a big fan of quotes, so I write about what that quote means to me, and how it relates to one of the areas in SEL, because with quotes, they mean something to you at one point in your life, and then you can look at that same quote 5 years later, and because of the experiences you've had, it means something completely different. And I think that's just the beauty of that, and that just shows how we just continuously grow and change.
Yeah. And it just reminds me of what you said earlier about the imagery of the metamorphosis with the butterfly. We're constantly evolving and changing and hopefully growing to be the best version of ourselves. And Dan, I couldn't agree with you more about SEL. I think that's the foundation of everything we do in education. So again, thank you for coming on today. And I know that your words of wisdom today will help the listeners continue to lead with hope. So again, thank you, Dan.
All right. Thank you for having me.
Mm-hmm. Leading with Hope is an intentional practice requiring self-reflection and self-awareness. Check out my website at leadwithhope.net and subscribe to my monthly newsletter. My newsletter provides 3 tips, 2 quotes, and 1 question that will help you build self-efficacy and lead with hope. Thanks for tuning in today, and have a great day.